Man, judgment is the biggest pain in the ass. It's the thing that really keeps us from ascending. And we are constantly in a state of judgment. And when we're doing that, what are we? We're our primitive 3D selves. There's so many benefits to being able to overcome judgment. It's endless. But it's so hard to do. So here's another method. It's replacing judgment with curiosity. So let's talk about that in this video. The mind is constantly going. It's always trying to solve problems. Here's a new problem, here's a solution. Here's a new problem, here's a solution. What if you don't have problems? What if there's no new problems coming in? You create them yourself. You look at yourself and say, I don't do this right and I don't do that right and I'm lazy and I procrastinate and I don't get this done and I'm a jerk to this person and I'm not very loving and I'm not beautiful enough and my body isn't beautiful and perfect and people don't really like me and I can never have a relationship and nothing's ever going to work out. Wow. Those are the thoughts that we have to create a problem to solve. Again, we are soft and squishy. We don't have sharp claws. We don't have sharp teeth. We don't have armored scales to protect us against predators who want to eat us. We are very vulnerable. The only thing that we have to our advantage as humans are these brains. And these brains are very good at understanding complex everything, complex things, and coming up with simple to complex solutions. So if we are not trying to solve a problem right now, our brains are going, we're going to die. We're going to die. We're going to die. We're not solving any problems. Oh my gosh, we haven't solved a problem in a while. That means we're going to die. Calm it, brain. We don't live in those times where a scratch could kill us. We don't live in the times where there's saber-toothed tigers waiting to jump out at us. If we're not constantly solving a problem, we're not going to die. But it feels like it. And that's why we go into self-judgment. Okay, if we've got no other external things that we need to worry about right now, let's go ahead and evaluate this thing. Because this thing is going to screw it all up. We're going to do something dumb and we're going to die. So let's try to figure out what's wrong with this thing in advance of that certain doom. Oh my gosh. And so we are constantly in this state of creating a problem so we can solve it. Well, this makes us miserable. It actually creates a new problem, and that problem is depression, PTSD, negative entity attachments. Everything's wrong with my life. ADHD. I need to have medication in order to keep myself from trying not to die all the time. Not true. Okay. So if we realize that this is what's happening, if we understand that, wait, we come about it honestly, our brain is just trying to keep us alive all the time, then we can say, all right, brain, you can take a break. For many, that works. It's called meditation. You can go into a meditative state, shut the brain down to some degree, so that you're not constantly in judgment, so you're not constantly finding all the things that are wrong with you. And that's really powerful, and it really does work for a lot of people. But then there are many who, yeah, it's helpful, it does some good stuff, I'm better as a result of doing it, but I still find myself in judgment all the time. I still find myself in problem solving all the time. And as we go into that, and as we stay in that, all we do is we tear ourselves down. We don't look at ourselves as these amazing beings of light that we actually are. We find every reason to say that that's not true, so that we can solve it. Oh, I'm not a being of light, I'm not amazing, I'm procrastinating, I'm whatever. Well, then I need to do this, and I need to do that, and I need to do that. Well, then the problem comes into play that eventually you don't actually do those things. You don't find yourself, okay, well, in order to not be this way, I'm going to eat better, or I'm going to drink more water, or I'm going to do activities, or I'm going to give myself a break and relax, and so on and so forth. Those things don't actually happen because of whatever reason. Again, the judging mind, the distractions, the depression, the PTSD, whatever it is. And so now you've got more ammunition to judge yourself further. It's endless. Okay, So what if we instead looked at our judgment as something where, okay, let's just curiously look at ourselves. Okay, so the judgment things comes into play, right? I judge that I'm not beautiful enough, and so I cannot attract a romantic partner. Okay, I'm not beautiful enough. Well, let's look at that. Isn't that interesting? What an interesting thought that is. I'm not beautiful enough. Okay, well, we know that's judgment because we're talking about that it's not enough for something. Notice that that sentence often ends there. I'm not beautiful enough. Enough? For what? We don't finish the sentence. Well, we sort of do. I'm not beautiful enough to attract a partner. Well, that's still very arbitrary. What kind of a partner do you want to attract? Do you want to attract the most famous person in the world? Well, you're probably never going to attract that person because they're never going to find you in all the midst of 7.5 billion people. So let's look at how we're doing this. Okay, I'm observing myself, saying to myself that I'm not beautiful enough. Well, isn't that interesting? What judgment am I using to determine that? Maybe you're looking at a men's magazine or a women's magazine and saying, see, look, I don't have that perfect nose or hair or smile or eyes. So what are you doing right there? You're projecting what your partner, your imaginary partner, will like. Well, talk about guesswork. You're really far beyond any kind of reality. So isn't that interesting? Isn't that curious? Look at what I'm actually doing there. I would love to know more about how I think. Why do I think that way? And so you can approach this with curiosity as opposed to, well, I'm just not beautiful enough, so F it. That ends the conversation, and it reinforces the BS that you're not good enough, that you're not beautiful enough. Instead, you can look at it and say, actually, if I were to look at someone else who other people don't think is attractive, and you can think of someone like that, but that you do, oh my gosh, this person is a beautiful being. And other people go, ugh, I don't like that person at all. You might be surprised, right? Like, oh, really? You don't like that person? Well, that's strange. I was pretty sure they're beautiful. Well, isn't that curious? Well, I guess in that case, I actually think they're beautiful, and those other people don't. Okay, I wonder if that can be applied to me. I wonder if it could be applied that some people they wouldn't find me beautiful. No matter how beautiful I find myself, if I could call myself a 10 out of 10, absolute perfection, is everyone in the whole world going to say, yep, that person's a 10? Nope. You cannot convince me of that. And if you can convince yourself of that, you're doing another thing. You're lying to yourself. You're creating this negative experience just so that you can have the negative experience, just so that you can keep yourself down lower. So again, still looking at this all with curiosity. Okay, so isn't that interesting that I jumped to that conclusion, that I think this about myself, and that at the same time, other people wouldn't like me, and other people, wait a minute, could they really? Maybe they do think that I'm beautiful. Maybe there's other people that would. I bet you that that's true. How much do you want to wager that that is true? No matter how you appear to them, to the world, you're probably actually quite beautiful. So this is just a little exercise in looking at yourself, at your judgment, with curiosity. How curious, how interesting that I would actually have all these thoughts. And I can actually argue the opposite view. If you sat down and said, okay, I'm going to write down my top 10 self-judgments, and then on the other half of the paper, I want you to start writing down the arguments against that. Well, actually, imagine that you're a friend of yours looking at your list and going, oh, okay, let me start arguing all this. Imagine that your friend wrote that list and you were arguing against them. I bet you that in every case you can come up with a stellar argument as to why all of the judgments about yourself are not true. I love that exercise. And then what you might want to do is get that friend to take a look at your list. To take a look at your list that you wrote of all your self-judgments and show them your list of all your self-arguments that are saying, no, that judgment's wrong, no, that judgment's wrong, no, that judgment's wrong, and show it to them. I think you might find it an incredible, first of all, an amazing conversation that you're going to have with that person. But I think you're going to find even more reasons why your list is BS. I find that to be amazing. I find that to be something that you can really sink your teeth into and truly love yourself over all of the things that you think you're judging yourself on. But you are totally wrong. So what I'd like to do now is give you an opportunity to reduce a little bit of your judgment through an activation. This is a very simple activation. We're going to remove this urge, this need to judge yourself. So I want you to go ahead and close your eyes and take a nice big deep breath and relax as you exhale. Feel yourself sinking into your chair that you're sitting in. And my activations are quick and simple. I'm going to say breath in. And when I do, you're going to take a nice big deep breath. You're going to hold it at the top. And you're going to wait for me to say the word awaken. It'll be loud and explosive, so be prepared. This will send energy healing your way that will make a change at an energetic level. But before I do that, I want you to observe yourself sitting where you are right now. I want you to see yourself sitting there. I mean, really see yourself. See your eyes closed. See the pose that you're in, the chair or the seat that you're in, the clothes that you're wearing. See the true self. And then I want you to picture this, a visual representation of your self-judgment. Maybe you see it as a dark cloud around you. Maybe you see it as a blindfold. Maybe you see it as ropes that are tying you up. Whatever you see is correct. I'll give you a moment to see that. This is, again, your self-judgment. You're seeing visually represented. And then I want you to go ahead and remove it in whatever way you see fit. Maybe you're grabbing it and throwing it away. Maybe it's disintegrating right in front of you or being sucked to the core of the earth. Whatever way you see here is the correct way. So go ahead and allow that to happen. Good. Now I want you to go ahead and breath in. Excellent. Okay. Seeing yourself sitting in that chair, I want you to return to your body. Feel the temperature of the room on your skin. Feel the seat that's supporting you against your body. And when you're ready to release judgment, then you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for participating in that activation. It means the world to me to be able to help in all these different ways. And many of my activations are quick like that, but there are plenty more that are 20, 30, 40 minutes long. And the way to access those is to either join the program detached, to detach yourself from all the negative things, from judgment, PTSD, negative entity attachments, curses, alien implants, whatever it might be. and you'll be able to experience these incredibly powerful and long activations that can make a huge difference in your life. So thank you so much again for participating, for liking, for commenting, for subscribing, doing all those amazing YouTube things that help me grow the channel so I can help more and more people. I love you unconditionally, and I'll see you in the next video.